Hello, my name is Klevit, and I'm the founder and CEO of Business Success Consulting Group. In this video, I'm going to walk you through our proven process of how we document processes and procedures so companies can grow and thrive and increase profitability by systematizing. I've been doing it for almost 3 decades. I'm an industry engineer. I've been working with companies to improve and systematize their processes. And it's not just me. I have a team of 10 competent individuals that work with me, consultants and technical writers and marketing and administrative staff. We are a group of people that know how to document your processes and procedures and how to make sure that they are being implemented and being followed by all. I'm going to walk you through now how we actually get the project started, how we get it going, how we proceed through the process, and my favorite part, which is basically how we make sure that those processes are being followed by all. The first thing that we do is we find out the why. The why is very, very important. The why of why documenting. And that's the first question I'm going to be asking. Why do you want to document? I'm not going to just ask you, I'm going to also ask your team members, why do they want to document? Because if we don't know why, we're going to run into stops, into obstacles, into barriers. If we know the why, then we understand what is important and why process documentation is so important to you. We will ask you, why do you want to document, and dive into it. But I would like to show you right now is those are the most common answers of why businesses want to document their processes and procedures. Number one is always consistency. Want to make sure that all the operations are being done consistent, all parts of the organization, sales, operations, marketing, quality control, HR, onboarding, everything needs to be consistent. Risk mitigation. You might have several employees that are doing it differently, and that creates risk, dissatisfied customers. It might be that you need compliance in your business and it's not being done. That's also part of risk mitigation. Onboarding. How do you onboard your new employees? Do you have a system? Do you have a checklist? Do you know that if you're bringing on a new employee, do you know for certain, for sure, that they are going to be taken care of and trained correctly? If not, you definitely need processes and procedures. Training, new employees, existing employees, very important. In order to create great culture, you want employee retention. You want people that feel like they're part of the group and they're being taken care of and they're being told what is expected of them and they're being trained. So definitely having great processes and procedures is a key component to having a great culture. Scaling, expansion. Are you looking at opening more locations? Are you looking at hiring? Are you looking at 3x, 5x, 10x, 20x your business? Whatever it is, processes and procedures are needed. Knowledge transfer. Do you have an employee that has been with you for many years and they have all their knowledge in their head and you are a little bit concerned what will happen if they leave? Or even if something happens to them, right? Let's say your CFO has all the information on how they close the month and you have no idea. And for some reason or other, they don't show up tomorrow. What are you going to do? And the last one, exit. If you want to sell your business 3, 5 years from now, having great processes and procedures will definitely increase the value of your business. All right. So that's the first step we're going to talk about, which is basically the why. We ask great questions. We have a great exercise in order to find out what is your why. After that, the question is, where do we start? Where do we start with process documentation? Here is where we do it, how we do it. The first question that we ask is, what area of the company, if there were well-documented processes and procedures for that area, will give you the biggest ROI? Now, ROI, of course, it's always profit, increased profits. That's what we are going for. But there are other aspects to ROI. For instance, Maybe you want more time off. Maybe you're working 16 hours a day and you would like to work only 10. Maybe you would like to work 2 hours a day. That's an ROI. It's a return on investment. You will invest in this and you will get that. Maybe the return on investment will be to save money in training your new employees. If you go to our LinkedIn profile, you see testimonials that we get. One of our clients said that we saved him 75% of their time of training their customer service representatives as they were hiring them. That's one of many success stories. So you define your ROI, and we are going to locate the area where we are going to start the process documentation. After we do that, we're going to map the processes we're going to document. So let's say we decided we're going to start with the sales department. All right, we're going to document the sales department. We're going to map it. So we do a whiteboard exercise. And by the way, we do it all online. We've been doing it online for many years, and we have clients globally, actually, all over the US and also in the UK, in Australia. Not a problem. We do it all. We have a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard, and we start mapping. We start mapping how the process flow. We make it very simple, but definitely very precise and detailed, so we know what we are mapping. And this will be our roadmap. This will be, if you would, our GPS, where we're going, what we're trying to accomplish, and what's the road to get us there. Then after we have it all mapped, the next step is we're going to get it documented. And that is where we roll up our sleeves and we carry the load. I can tell you that I started this company because I found out something. I found out that entrepreneurs are not documenting the processes and they don't have time for it. I used to be a general business consultant, and I would tell my clients, okay, you need to document your processes and procedures if you want to scale, if you want to onboard, if you want to train. And they will say, yes, they will agree. But they will come the next week and they will sit to our meeting and they will say, I didn't have time. And the next meeting, don't have time. So it's either time or it's lack of know-how, whatever it is, we do it for you. This is a done it for you service. We're now going to embark on this part of the project where we're going to extract the information from you and from your team, and we're going to get it done. So let's see how we're actually getting it done. So the first thing is that we're going to work on some agreements and a mindset on how we're going to complete this project. So the first thing is the decision to get it done, the decision that it is important enough and we want to get it done. So we need to keep an eye on the mountain and to refer to the why. That's why the why exercise is very, very important for the success of this project. We have to make it a priority. Of course, you have other priorities in the business, and I know that, and we know that, my team and I know that very well. We only work with successful entrepreneurs. Our clients are fast-growing companies lacking consistency. We don't work with people that just sit around and have extra time to document. That will not happen. Because if that's the case, that means you don't have enough to do, or your staff they don't have enough to do, and you probably need help with marketing and getting more leads and getting more activity going. Once you have the activity going, you're busy, absolutely. But we still need to make it a priority. And from my experience, when we get started and we decided this is a priority, time magically appears and we make it happen. Accountability. We're going to hold you accountable and your team, but the team internally will also hold themselves accountable in order to actually meet the due dates and get going on this project. Commitment. We work with our clients when they give us their commitment that they are going to continue with this process. We give you our commitment that we're going to get it done. We always get our projects done and we get it done on time. And we need to recognize obstacles. So before we get started, we're going to talk about it. We're going to figure out what are the possible obstacles that can happen during this project in order for us to overcome it. All right, so we set the stage for the documentation. And now we're going to start with actually documenting. So how do we do that? We're going to meet with you and with the key stakeholders that we're going to identify, because it doesn't have to be just you. It's definitely going to be with you and your team. And we are going to meet with them once a week for about 90 minutes. And we're going to interview them, and we're going to extract the information from them. We're very good at it. Myself and the consultants that work with me are experts at asking questions. We are curious, we're interested, and we ask all the right questions. We've done it for many years, and we know what to do, and we extract that information. We do it like this on an online platform, so we can actually share screen and we record the call. Then we take the recording and we extract videos out of it, screenshots, writing. We have expert technical writers that write very clear, clean, concise processes, and they know exactly how to do that. So we basically create that. We basically have the call. Then we process the information. And after that, we're going to send you the draft of the processes. We're going to send you and your staff that helped us the draft of the processes and procedures that we created for your review. We expect you to review it before the next call. And then on the next call, we might just address a few of those elements or the key points to make sure we're all on the same page. And we will move on to document the next procedure in line based on our map. We run it as a project. We have project management tools. We use a process documentation software. So we have several that we recommend. And I will also tell you in a later time why we recommend process documentation software. Why is it so important? And we cannot skip that. We have regular meetings. We give you due dates and we follow up. And that's how we get things done. As I mentioned, we utilize your team. It's not just you. It cannot be just you. You will have to identify the people that you want to clone. We're going to work with them in order to achieve the best data extraction for our process documentation. If you have several people that are doing the same position, for instance, let's say you have 5 estimators, and you feel like they're doing it differently, maybe they're all doing it correctly, but because you don't have the processes documented, there is lack of uniformity. We deal with it all the time. So I'm going to go over in detail how we address that and how we make sure that we extract the right information from everyone, and then we put it together as a whole. When we document, we use all the 4 styles or modes of learning. We use visual, read and write, auditory, kinesthetic. So all of those we take into account when we create your processes and procedures and when we actually create your training as well. You might ask me, well, how do you do kinesthetic? Well, if we are teaching somebody to do something, we make sure that they actually go and do it. And that is part of the training checklist that we create. Then when we have the processes and procedures together, we make sure that they're being reviewed by your leadership team. We have a whole rollout process, very, very thorough, and you're going to get our rollout process, and we'll walk you through that to make sure that everyone on your team approves of those processes and they actually reflect the entire organization. And this is my favorite part. This is where we actually do the process improvement. My philosophy is that if it's not broken, why fix it? But maybe we can improve. But we're very careful not to do that at the beginning. We are not the type of consultants that will come into your company and say, oh, you have to change that, or you have to change that, or you have to change that. Remember, we're working with very successful entrepreneurs. If you made it so far, you have successful actions that we do not want to change. So what do? But you want to always improve, right? I mean, you might want to improve. So we document existing state, and that's led us up to this point. And then we start looking at what can we automate? What can we improve? We have so much knowledge that we can give you a lot of suggestions. And of course, we're going to collaborate and work together on how to make it better. And now, the difference between success and failure in this project is this. is make it accessible. We need to make sure that the procedures that we wrote are actually being followed by all. Because what's the point of documenting and investing? This is definitely a financial investment, a time investment, attention investment. What's the point of documenting and writing everything if it's not accessible, if it's not followed by all? This is the area where we are experts at, and that is rolling it out to the company and making sure that your processes are followed by all. How do we do that? There are different ways that we do that. We publish the procedures and we make sure that each and every team member knows what's written there. We train you and we train the trainers and we train the employees to actually use those procedures. We train them on how to use the procedures in order to resolve issues. We train them on how to make sure that it is part of the culture. We create that culture of using processes and procedures. And we make sure that we coach you on how to review those processes regularly. And after we are done with writing the procedures, we don't just disappear. We have a sequence of meetings that come at the end of the documentation. So we're still going to be there to make sure that the documentations are working for you. And we also will coach you on how to review them regularly, because processes do change. Depends on the maturity of the process, they do change. They have to be reviewed. Even if they don't, still you need to have regular reviews, maybe less often, but it still needs to happen. Our interest is that you have well-documented processes and procedures that are being followed by all, and they stay alive. The project keeps going. It's not something that we do one time and that's it. Is that you actually utilize it. And that is what we would like to accomplish for you. So I am very excited about our meeting and to get to talk to you. During the 30 minutes of the process mapping, we're going to talk about your processes. We're going to identify the place of where to start the documentation. I'll give you some tips about how to start that documentation and how you can make it a success. What do you need to make sure that happens in your company in order for those processes to be followed by all? You might be in different stages of the rolling out of the process documentation. You might have tried it, you might have not. You might thought that it's a good idea, but it's not really being accomplished. You might have tried it and you ran into some obstacles. We can talk about that as well. You might not know where to start, and I'll help you with that. Whatever it is, make sure that you write your questions, and when we meet, we're going to address that, and we are going to get you rolling on documenting your processes. So you probably got several email reminders and calendar reminders about our meetings. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our meeting on time. You will have my undivided attention for 30 minutes to talk about your processes.